Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. As you all know, the past week and a half have been filled with several football games. And today we are glad to announce that we have reached the semifinals portion of the tournament. So we are here today with the Honorable Premier, Mr. Alden McLaughlin, CONCACAF President Jeffrey Webb, and the corresponding coaches for the semifinalist teams from Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. And with that, I will turn the floor over to the Honorable Premier for him to open.
Good morning. I want to thank you all for coming. And I want to say a special thanks to Mr. Jeffrey Webb, our favorite son, for having, as president of CONCACAF, ensured that this wonderful tournament has been held, or is being held, in the Cayman Islands. And I want to formally welcome and thank all of the participants. I'm happy that we have the coaches of the successful teams who have gone through to the semifinals here with us this morning to talk about the upcoming semifinals on Friday night. This tournament has meant a lot and means a lot to Cayman. It is the biggest sporting event that we've ever hosted, and so far all reports are that it has been extraordinarily well organized, and everyone who is here and participating, and all of those who have visited for the purpose of watching the games, think Cayman is a wonderful place, and it has actually been so far an outstanding success, the whole event. And I want to, as I said, to thank Jeff for all of the efforts that he's made to make sure that this has happened. I believe the money and effort that we've invested in the facilities, the sporting facilities, over the course of the last few years is paying huge dividends. And I've had discussions with Mr. Webb and some others of his team, and whatever other improvements that are necessary to ensure that we are able to continue to host CONCACAF or other football tournaments will be made. I believe that sports tourism is a very viable prospect for Cayman. And while the capital investment that is necessary to ensure that we have the facilities is significant, long term and even medium term, I think it will pay huge dividends. And so, despite the constraints that we all have as far as budget is concerned, we are prepared to make the necessary commitments to ensure that other events, not just football, but particularly football tournaments, are able to occur in Cayman. I won't steal the thunder of Mr. Webb, who I know is able to talk today about two other events, football-related events, over the course of the next few months. But again, it has been an honor and a privilege for Cayman to be able to host such a significant tournament. And I look forward. I attended all of the games in which Cayman played, and I'm extraordinarily proud of our boys. Obviously, I'm a little disappointed that they haven't gone through to the semifinals, but Bermuda showed us that they're a bit better. And that's the way the game is. But I believe that the way the Cayman Under 15 team has performed bodes very well for the future of football in Cayman. And whatever the government can do to assist their continued development, we are committed to do. So with those few words, again, I want to thank Mr. Webb, his entire team, CONCACAF and FIFA, for reposing the confidence they have in the Cayman Islands as a venue for such a significant event.
Thank you. For Spanish?
El honorable premier quiere primero agradecer a CONCACAF, a President Webb y a toda su organización por este gran torneo que está tomando lugar aquí en las Islas Caimán. Él está seguro que la inversión que hizo el gobierno y CONCACAF en los estadios y eso va a ser es muy importante y les va a servir de mucho en el futuro para poder no solo tener eventos de fútbol aquí en Caimán, pero también de otros deportes. Está muy orgulloso de cómo jugó la selección de Caimán, pero claro, reconoce que Bermuda fue superior a ellos. También quiere agradecer personalmente a President Webb, sin quitarle sus thunder, es lo que él llama, porque gracias a él y a todo su equipo de trabajo de la CONCACAF, este evento está aquí, y que para él ha sido muy importante.
Thank you. Thank you, Alvaro. Thank you, Honorable Premier. And please, for me this morning, the first point is just to really to say congratulations to Cayman. Cayman has done a tremendous job as a host for this event. And there's been so many elements to make this successful. We wish, of course, to recognize, of course, so many departments, of course, within government. Thank, of course, and show appreciations for the Honorable Premier, Honorable Deputy Premier, and also the Honorable Minister of Sports for their intervention in many instances to make sure that this tournament delivers and is able to perform what we all envision and believe that this tournament would do. It's been a number of games played, a lot of games. It's up to 51 games have been played in total. We've had 201 goals scored, averaging almost 4.5 goals per game. Only 2 matches have been tied. We have almost 25,000 people in attendance, 24,800 and something, who have attended the games over the last, I think it's 9 days, is it? 9 days. So tremendous success story from CONCACAF standpoint, and I also believe from Cayman standpoint. And I want to, of course, congratulate all of the participants, all of the participating teams, the 22 teams who are here, and also congratulations to them. Congratulations to El Salvador, congratulations to Honduras, to Guatemala, and also to Bermuda for qualifying to the semifinal, and also best of luck to them in reaching the final and winning this first ever inaugural championship here in Cayman. The tournament for us is, the vision comes from development, comes from CONCACAF, this new CONCACAF having the belief and the vision that to spur growth, to inspire a new generation, we must give them opportunity. And we believe that we're giving the kids the opportunity by starting to prepare them well. Not only are we preparing the players on the field well, but this morning we launched our coaching D license at the Westin. We have 40 coaches here from around the region, top coaches from around the region, US, Canada, and so forth, who are participating in a coaching qualification D license. Because everything we do is geared at improving, is geared at the Confederation evolving, and is geared ultimately to better football on the field, and ultimately winning the World Championship. That is the objective, that is the goal. For the minister spoke briefly about Cayman team. Cayman team, I'm sure everyone knows, is very dear to me. It's my child, and I too, very proud of their performance, proud of the leadership that I've seen from them, proud of the development that I've seen. So much effort has gone into first educating our coaches, providing opportunities for these players, exposure for these players. But one of the most fundamental and perhaps most impactful improvement for these players is that these players, 14 years old, would have played almost their entire footballing career for the first generation in history on all good football fields. You have good surfaces. You have surfaces in Ed Bush. You have surfaces at the Annex. You have surfaces in at Truman Bodden, and that means so much. Every one of these coaches will tell you, you cannot develop good habits, good techniques on uneven fields and on bad surfaces. So believe me, the importance of those fields, the investment that was made 5 years ago, has bode well, because it has helped to prepare a new generation of players. And for that, of course, I must thank the Honorable Premier at the time. He was a minister. I would hope that those fields and the investment in football actually got him a promotion to Premier. I hope it's good. Yeah, but definitely we feel encouraged. We feel the future, not only for CONCACAF, is very bright, but we feel definitely the future for Cayman is very bright. It's going to take leadership. It's going to take an investment, not only from the private, but we must have private sector and public sector to allow these players to absolutely develop to the best that they can be. And it's going to take a lot. We cannot approach it half. We must approach it full, because they deserve it. They have worked hard. Their families have worked hard to get into this place. Now it's for us to help them, to take them to the next level. Now we've got to deliver. They've shown us what they've done on their own. Now we've got to step forward and deliver and show them. So for CONCACAF, we have, of course, we look forward to outstanding semifinals on Friday. We have a big rival with El Salvador and Honduras.
Tenemos una gran rivalidad entre El Salvador y Honduras en la primera semifinal del viernes.
I am even surprised that they are sitting next to each other.
Estoy sorprendido que se puedan sentar uno junto al otro.
They went to war, you know. There was a small problem one time between El Salvador and Honduras. Small problem.
Hubo alguna vez un problema pequeño entre El Salvador y Honduras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a war over football. Over football.
Famosas 100 horas de guerra de fútbol.
The famous 100 hours of war because of football.
Because of football between ourselves. So please, no war.
Sin guerra, por
Just
favor.
football.
Solo fútbol.
Yes, I know.
Just football. But thank you. And this time we'll ask the coaches, of course, to say a few words, and then we have a question and answer, and you'll have the players, of course. The captains are here from each team as well. So, Samantha.
Perfect. Thank you, President Webb. And now we're going to open the floor for questions and answers. So please state your name, the name of your organization, your question, and to whom you want to ask the question. Thank you.
Jamie Tawil with Radio Cayman. I'll start with Mr. Webb. Mr. Webb, you had mentioned during the launch of this that this under-15 would be almost a measuring bar, a bit of a precursor to the under-20s coming in January 2014, and certainly not to overshadow this tournament. I was just curious to get your thoughts on what you've seen has been a success over this past 9 days. I know it's not over yet, and where you think there might be some improvements that need to be made ahead of January.
You know, thank you. And yes, the performance, the LOC, CIFA, the volunteers, the support from government has been tremendous, and definitely, I think it has renewed my confidence. And you know, I used to say and believe that there's nothing that Cayman cannot do. I haven't gotten to the point yet where I say that Cayman can win the World Cup, but I believe that now that we have infrastructure, I believe with strategic planning, long-term strategic planning, and investment into various venues throughout the country, I am absolutely convinced after hosting 22 teams, Fortunate for Trinidad and for Dominican Republic, the difficulties. But after hosting 22 teams, which is bigger from a participating than the under-17 World Cup, male or female, I do believe that with right leadership, right vision, a will, I do believe that Cayman will not only host the CONCACAF Under-20 Championship in women's in January, but I actually believe that if we truly commit ourselves to, I believe that Cayman actually has the opportunity and the potential to host an under-17 male or female world championship in the future. So that tells you how I feel.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And just one more, if I might, for the head coach of Bermuda. My apologies. My eyes are so bad I can't see the full name. But obviously your team broke the hearts of many Caymanians in winning Group A, but the boys did give you a good test. Curious to get just a general thought on the Cayman side, and were they your toughest challenge in Group A play?
Okay, firstly, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Premier, the President of CONCACAF, the CONCACAF officials, and the people of Caymans, as well as the volunteers, for putting on such a fantastic tournament. It provides great opportunity for our boys to interact and to play against quality opposition, and as well as me as a coach. With regards to the Caymans team, I think they are a fantastic team. We managed to win to get the victory, but I didn't think we were 3 goals better than them. But I was very impressed with their overall play.
Thanks.
Ron Shillingford, Caymanian Compass. I just want to ask each of the coaches why they think they're going to win the championship.
Start here. They have mics for it.
Le quiere preguntar a cada entrenador por qué piensa que usted debe ganar el campeonato.
Bueno, en primer lugar, dar gracias a Dios, agradecer a las autoridades locales, al señor presidente de CONCACAF por la oportunidad de invitarnos. Y para nosotros es un evento de trascendencia el estar en la final del torneo, porque nuestras generaciones de jugadores que tienen muy poca oportunidad, y agregar también que en nuestro país el problema social, el fútbol, es visto como una herramienta para poder ayudar en una forma educativa, y sabemos que va a ser un trascendente para nuestras generaciones abajo de los 15 años.
First of all, I want to thank CONCACAF, the Caymanian government, and President Webb for hosting this magnificent tournament. It's been a great opportunity for our country. It would be very important for us to win this tournament, as football in El Salvador is used as a social tool to stabilize, and these kids haven't had a lot of opportunity to compete internationally, so this is a great opportunity for us, and we want to be in the final and win the tournament. Gracias.
Gracias, buen día. Primer ministro, presidente Webb, agradecido con Dios por la oportunidad que nos da por estar acá en Gran Caimán, de manejar un grupo de jóvenes en una edad muy importante, en donde darán el salto pues precisamente al fútbol profesional. Pero más allá de ello es manifestar el hecho de la competencia y la organización, y que por primera vez CONCACAF considera y toma en cuenta un torneo U15. No solamente en el plano personal es educar en el fútbol, sino también precisamente poder educar a través de esta actividad, y lo más importante es que el fútbol nos da la posibilidad de poder educar los valores humanos. Muy importante por lo que establecía el compañero, por lo que es nuestra región, y que justamente en esta edad se pueden consolidar esos valores humanos, no solamente en lo deportivo, sino en esta forma de llevarlo, y que ellos puedan consolidarse y lo que pueda hacer de su vida profesional futbolística.
Honorable Premier, Mr. Webb, thank you very much for the invitation. He agrees with the coach from El Salvador. This is a great opportunity to help educate the players with human values that will help them in the future. He believes it's a great tournament, this first time under 15, it's very important because it's the age when you can educate and give human values to the players, especially in this region that has some instability over the past.
Okay. Thanks. So does he agree also that El Salvador will be in the final?
que está de acuerdo con que El Salvador va a estar en la final, porque dijo que estaba de acuerdo.
Yo creo que
Está jugando con usted.
hoy somos amigos.
Today we're friends.
And this moment is friendly. It's my friend, but the Friday is the war.
Que hoy son amigos, pero que el viernes va a ser diferente.
Muy buenos días a todos. De igual forma, quiero agradecer al señor ministro en nombre de todo el grupo guatemalteco porque hemos sido muy bienvenidos, muy bien tratados por toda la gente de acá de Caimán, al presidente Webb, por tener la iniciativa, como lo dijo el profe Carlos, y creo que es el sentir de todos los que, más que entrenadores, en esta etapa somos formadores, tener la oportunidad de convivir, que los jóvenes tengan la experiencia inicial a esta edad y de apurarnos un poco a empezar el trabajo con un año para lo que va a ser el trabajo con sub-17, la eliminatoria sub-17, y al mismo tiempo también nos hace pensar que el trabajo tiene que empezar antes, ¿sí? Para que la siguiente vez que tengamos este tipo de torneo no vengamos con 2 semanas o un mes de trabajo, sino que traigamos por lo menos un año de trabajo y pensar en que la formación de estos jóvenes que en el futuro van a ser nuestros representantes del fútbol profesional de cada país y sobre todo del área de CONCACAF, que es sumamente importante para tener primero el respeto, después el reconocimiento y ganar un lugar, un mejor lugar a nivel mundial. Así es que felicitaciones y muchas gracias.
First of all, I want to thank the Honorable Premier and President Webb for this great organization. This tournament has been magnificent. We as coaches have learned a lot also because we've got to meet another coaches, and we've learned that for the future, not only do we have to prepare 2 or 3 weeks in advance, we have to prepare 1 year in advance, and this will not only help us for an under-15 tournament, but preparing for the qualifiers next year and for the under-17.
Yes, I think this tournament hopefully will inspire our government back home to put more into the sport. I think at the stage in which we are now, I think it's already been a success for us, and we will continue to be competitive, and hopefully that this will transpire back in Bermuda, in which we can invest more into the development of our young players as well as our coaches through coaching education, so sport can serve what its true purpose, which is to develop character.
Menciona que espera que este torneo y la participación que ha tenido el equipo de Bermuda inspire a su gobierno para que invierta más dinero en el fútbol, porque es una gran oportunidad de educar a los jugadores y de promover un deporte.
Kevin Morales with Cayman 27. Mr. Premier, I believe maybe last month or the month before, I believe it was Minister Kirkconnell who estimated that this tournament could bring in up to, I think $20 million was a figure that he used. Is there any way, now that we're into it, to measure that and what has been actually generated in the local economy?
I believe there's a means of measuring it. I don't know what the number is, but obviously we'll do a count of air arrivals, we'll do a count of hotel rooms and cars rented, and estimate of spend on food and so forth. So I believe that at the end of the tournament, a couple of weeks after that, we should be able to have a reasonable figure as to what we think the tournament actually generated. I believe it's estimated some 3,000 people actually came as a result of the tournament. So we'll see. But it's been a positive boost, whatever the number is. I mean, it's been significant. and at a time when our rivals are generally, at their lowest, because we are in the middle of the summer now. So it's a really, really positive thing, and we have a great deal to thank CONCACAF and President Webb for.
And Mr. Webb, I don't know how much you've talked to your staff up to this point in the tournament. Anything that you can take from this tournament that you might be able to apply to the under 20 women in January? Any sort of improvements that you see can be made, or any changes or anything like that?
Well, there's definitely there is, and we will have we have debriefings every day. But at the end of the tournament, we will have a formal debriefing with all of the directors along with the LOC. I believe on Tuesday at the end of the tournament, which at that time then we'll start preparing for the under 20 competition. But definitely there's always improvement. One right off the bat that I personally was not pleased with. I was not pleased that various organizations, I think, could have been involved, such as cultural and some heritage could have been involved. We definitely would like to involve others, such as displays and ceremonies. That is definitely one off the top. And then for us, the attendance, the games have been overwhelming. 2 out of, I think, 5 Cayman games, we had to close the stadium because it was because of safety and security. We had to turn away almost, I think, 800 or 900 people on Friday when we played Bermuda. Was over capacity. And of course, the country is evolving. When the stadium was built in 1994, we had 35,000 people, and we built the stadium for 10% of the population. Now, of course, we have 60,000, and so the numbers, of course, we're going to see what we've seen actually over the last few days, and it's been tremendous. I think it's been tremendous overall for Cayman football. And I think for us, one of the bigger ones is venues. Venues. We'll be meeting with the Premier and the Minister of Sports this afternoon to go through some of the venues and our observations. Many great ones. They've been tremendous. The work that they've done in a short period of time, the infrastructure they've put in place in a short period of time has been tremendous. So it's been great. And one note, we're Belize. One note also, Belize team will be visiting. We'll be having a Cayman All-Star game. A lot of the Caymanian players, and along with the Cayman Brac players, will be playing a game in Cayman Brac on Saturday morning. Belize will be visiting there. As you know, a lot of work and infrastructure is being now put in place in the Brac as well, and that definitely bodes well for the future. And perhaps, who knows, if the venue is completed, we may have one of the under 20 World Cup qualifying games on the Brac. So that definitely bodes well, not only for Cayman Brac, but from a holistic standpoint for Cayman football.
Mr. McLaughlin, on the basis of how successful this has been, do you anticipate pumping money into more sports for big events, such as Norseca? I know we already got Norseca, but similar events in other sports.
Well, Mr. Schillingford, I think you've been around long enough to know my passion about the development of facilities and opportunities for young people in particular. I mean, one of the criticisms of me as minister the last time was that I spent too much money on things like sporting facilities. Obviously, these are different times, much more austere times, and what we have in terms of capital spend is much less now over this term than it has been. So we have to be much more thoughtful and strategic in how we use the limited capital that we have. But we are committed to going ahead with developing as many of the facilities as we possibly can. And one of the things that I am looking very carefully at, and this is not particular in relation to football now, is the completion of the double gymnasium, which is part of the the new John Gray campus. Because when that is completed, that opens up a whole new spectrum in relation to indoor net sports in particular, because that is to be fitted out to be able to accommodate professional basketball, as one with the proper flooring and so forth. So yes, we're already looking at those things. I mean, there's been the prospect of a 50-meter pool as well, which is something that is necessary to move that sport to another level. And so we're looking at a range of these things, and certainly as far as the pool is concerned, the involvement obviously of the private sector in that development. So my commitment is no less than it has ever been. It's just that the financial circumstances are very different, and we've got to plan things more long term. But the significant investment, which was about $20 million over the 4-year period that I was Minister of Sports, most of which actually went towards football infrastructure, was critically necessary because we had just come through Hurricane Ivan, which had destroyed or seriously damaged most of the venues. And of course, the venues needed to be brought up to international standard. I am less than satisfied, though I should say, of the care that has been taken of the facilities over the course of the last few years. And that is something that we have to turn our attention to, because we can't continue to invest significant sums of money and then not follow it up with proper and appropriate maintenance. So those are all issues that we've been discussing and will be discussing with President Webb and his team, and looking to address those concerns so that the facilities are in even better shape when we get to January of next year.
Just one comment, one criticism about this tournament, Mr. Webb. Everything is just fantastic. Everything's really well laid out and so on. But as a photographer, I only get 5 seconds to take the team shots. Can we extend it to 10, please? Sometimes I don't even get the other team.
I think as a president of CONCACAF, I think I can approve that. Mr. Mateus, you heard the approval? Okay. 10 seconds. But it's because that's part of our health initiative to run from one team to the other team.
Just one more question for Mr. Webb. Obviously, all the Cayman games were played at the Truplex, and Radio Cayman, we actually heard from a lot of sort of frustrated residents of West Bay and Georgetown who wanted to see the home team playing at either Annex or at Bush. I can only assume that the reason behind having them play at Truplex was because of the capacity that you mentioned earlier. Will there be any plans for the under-20 tournament to maybe have the girls play at other venues, or will the mentality be the same in that you anticipate heavy volumes of fans in that regard?
You know, it's thank God we live in a country that the Annex is only 5 minutes away and Ed Bush is only 20 minutes away.
Right.
but really, it comes down to capacity. You know, to put 3,500 people at the Annex or at Ed Bush, when you have seating capacity there for 1,000, would be very not only disrespectful to the game and to the players, but also to the fans as well. And so definitely, for now, the only facilities we have in the country that can have these crowds is Truman Bodden. We would love to play at Ed Bush. If we can get another stand at Ed Bush or a bigger stand at Ed Bush, I mean, if you can help us with this, then we'll be happy to. We'll be happy to. But no, it comes down to numbers, and definitely for us, we would love to play a game in Cayman Brac. We would love to play a game in Eastern Districts and also in West Bay, but. To have 3,000 or 4,000 people going in the districts when only 1,000 seats versus 3,000 or 4,000 people being there was not be good.
Bob Reese, Paramount Media and Spin Sports. Seems like the 4 coaches brought either their best players or highlight players, and I'd like to hear not only from the coaches why they brought those players, but from the players themselves and how they feel about being in the first ever under-15 CONCACAF championship.
So are there captains of each team? Captain of each team.
Yeah, they're the captains of each team.
Give them the mic, felicidades.
La pregunta es para los capitanes de cada equipo y empezamos por este lado, por El Salvador, si quiere. ¿Cuál es su sentimiento sobre participar en el primer torneo sub-15 de la CONCACAF?
Bueno, primero darle gracias a Dios, ¿verdad?, por esa gran oportunidad que nos ha dado. Gracias al señor presidente de la CONCACAF, al señor presidente. Y le queremos agradecer en nombre de todo el grupo por esa gran oportunidad de que a nuestra edad podamos desempeñarnos en esto que es el fútbol y que nosotros lo queremos como guía para nuestra vida, lo que nosotros hemos elegido, y que gracias por darnos esa oportunidad, y a todos los representantes de la CONCACAF, porque en esta área vamos a demostrar que esta área se puede crecer mundialmente. Entonces, un agradecimiento especial, y me siento muy contento de estar aquí, y de veramente en nombre de todo lo que ha sufrido El Salvador en lo que es el fútbol, pero nosotros con esto que nos han regalado vamos a tratar de hacer un cambio, y muchas gracias por todo.
First of all, I want to thank God for this opportunity, for being here, the Honorable Premier, President Webb, and all of the CONCACAF staff. It's an unbelievable experience for us. It will be a guide for us for the future. This is the path we have chosen. We want to be professional players. And with all that that's been happening in El Salvador lately, we want to show everyone that we can change things, and this is very important for us. Thank you all very much.
That's good. Thank you.
Primeramente, darle gracias a Dios porque nos tiene aquí reunidos, ¿verdad? Al señor ministro, al presidente Webb, porque nos ha dado una oportunidad más de hacer lo que a nosotros nos gusta, y agradecerle, ¿verdad? Porque de parte de todo el grupo, como dice el compañero, estamos agradecidos con él porque nos dio la oportunidad de venir aquí a Gran Cayman a representar a cada uno de mis compañeros de las selecciones, felicitarlos porque han llegado muy largo, y agradecido con él porque él nos ha dado el talento de jugar fútbol y él ahora nos lo está perfeccionando, y simplemente agradecerle a Dios. Nos tiene aquí.
As he also mentioned, we're very thankful to God, to the Honorable Premier, and to President Webb, and to everybody at Cayman, because they've given us an opportunity to play the sport we like, and it's a great opportunity for us. We're very thankful, and I want to congratulate not only my teammates, but everybody who is in the semifinals. Thank you very much.
Bueno, primero buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Johan Morales, estoy representando a Guatemala. Gracias al presidente Webb, al señor ministro, por la forma en que organizaron este torneo. Nos sentimos muy bienvenidos aquí, nos han tratado bien, y gracias a Dios todo ha salido bien. Para nosotros, para mí en lo personal, es un orgullo estar representando a mi país, y siento que como grupo, como selección nacional, también es una gran oportunidad para mostrarnos, para formarnos y hacernos más fuertes. Muchas gracias.
First of all, I want to thank President Webb and the Honorable Premier. This is a great opportunity for us. Myself and all of my teammates are very thankful for being here in Cayman. The tournament has been great. We've been very welcome, and this is a great tournament and a great opportunity for us to train for the future. Thank you very much.
Morning. I would like to thank Mr. Webb and the Honorable Premier. I'm just glad to be here and just so excited that you guys even invited us and give us this opportunity to give all my players and all my teammates to come here and play what we like to do. And really, it just, even the whole country has been backing us up and like giving us so much support, giving us so much enthusiasm to put it out on the field and like make us feel so important. And it's just so exciting, and it's the first under 15 CONCACAF tournament. So like even for my country, like to make it this far is like such an honor. And I just want to thank everybody for like even inviting us. It's been a real opportunity.
Menciona que gracias por la invitación al presidente Webb y al Honorable Premier, que ha sido una gran oportunidad para ellos. Todo su país los ha estado apoyando y realmente ya solo con tener la invitación y estar aquí ha sido un honor.
Real quick follow-up question. Jeff, you've been on our show and you talked about it, and I've heard it now from not only the players, but the belief or the motivation to take CONCACAF and make it one of the premier areas in the world for FIFA. I'd like you to, if you would, elaborate on it, and maybe the coaches, if they have something in regards to that, and taking their team and taking the CONCACAF Union to that next level.
You know, Bob, for me, it comes down to focus and clearly establishing the priorities. And really the priorities of CONCACAF is development, is the development of the game from a confederation standpoint. As I've said many times publicly, I felt that the focus on CONCACAF was not from a sporting standpoint, but was from an economic standpoint. So for us, it's about development programs. It's about establishing our departments. It's about investing in the game. We're spending $8 million this year in grassroots program. We've allocated for the first time in our history funding for grassroots programs for every single member, all 41 members throughout the confederation. So for us, we see it as a partnership. For FIFA, of course, largest markets for FIFA is the United States market. Majority of the funding for the World Cup now, over $6 billion, is generated in the Americas, which of course is led by CONCACAF. Our markets attract up to $2.2 billion from television rights for 2014 World Cup. So again, that's the economic side of it. But CONCACAF, we've won, I believe, I can safely say we've won every World Cup there is, except the World Cup. We've won the Under 17 World Cup, we've won the Under 20 World Cup, we've won the Women's World Cup, we've won the Under 17 Women's, we've won the Under 20 Women's World Cup. Last year in London, you saw we received both gold medals. And then they had a bronze, and we decided to take that too. So we took 3 medals out of 6. So clearly, the objective, of course, we compete, but we compete to win. Compete to win. That's why you compete. Of course, for these kids, for these coaches, it's development. It's inspiring a new generation. It's about giving them the opportunity that when they get to that level, they have the right tools, they have the right exposure, and they become complete players. But at the end of the day, you play the game to win. And our goal, clearly, is to win the World Cup. As I said to the U.S., we're fully support. The target is 2026 for the Confederation to host the World Cup in 2026. It will have been 32 years since our Confederation hosted the World Cup, which will be the longest span since World War II, and the longest span in 100-year history of FIFA. So it is for us, from an international relations standpoint, it is our #1 objective, is to bring back the World Cup to our region in 2026.
La pregunta es, Jeff, President Webb, usted ha mencionado que en nuestro programa que la prioridad de ustedes llevar el nivel de CONCACAF al más alto nivel comparado con las otras confederaciones de FIFA. Él menciona que en las administraciones pasadas era muy importante lo económico y lo deportivo se pone un poco de lado, pero que ahora él lo que ha puesto es lo deportivo sobre lo económico, que él con torneos como este quiere inspirar a los jugadores y darles la oportunidad de crecer, y porque son ellos los que van a luchar por esta confederación en los mundiales. Él también menciona que quiere traer el mundial del 2026 para la CONCACAF, porque han sido 32 años desde que el último mundial estuvo en nuestra confederación. Quería saber cuál es su opinión y cómo creen que la CONCACAF puede subir su nivel comparado con otras confederaciones. Empezamos con el entrenador de El Salvador.
Es importante esa situación, ya que en primer lugar focalizar el desarrollo en primera instancia y como consecuencia buscar, no como un objetivo, el ganar como parte de un desarrollo. La verdad es que todo el mundo cuando compite con jóvenes quiere abruptamente o apresuradamente obtener triunfos, pero el triunfo viene como consecuencia de un proceso sistemático. Y decía él, es mejor invertir y poner adelante lo deportivo que estar pensando en sacar resultados inmediatos.
He agrees with President Webb. This type of tournament help prepare the kids, and when you prepare someone and they're successful, the consequence of that will be the economical part. So it's very important to develop players.
Thank you. And perhaps, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but I believe you'll hear from CONCACAF in a few days. Our focus, of course, was not on economics for the Gold Cup. We've invested more, we've delivered more from a television, from an experience standpoint, from a fan activation, from a media standpoint, from our sponsors activation. But our focus is on football. And it's incredible that you'll hear in the next few days that this last Gold Cup would have been the most profitable Gold Cup in the history of CONCACAF. So
en los próximos días van a probablemente escuchar que esta Copa Oro es la que más dinero han ganado en la historia. Pero realmente esa no es su intención. Su intención es trabajar en el fútbol y ayudar a que los jugadores crezcan en el fútbol. Y claro, la consecuencia de eso es que hay ganancias económicas como pasó en la última Copa Oro.
Cuando uno se enfoca en la juventud y precisamente en el fútbol, cuando se atenciona el fútbol base, y es precisamente donde vienen saliendo este grupo de selecciones, 14, 15 años, sin duda alguna que la naturaleza de la competencia en la que estamos viviendo es excelente, es muy buena por el nivel técnico y táctico mostrado, y la implicación a futuro es que nos vamos a encontrar con selecciones compitiendo siempre a nivel de CONCACAF, ya sea un CAF o la misma CONCACAF, pues ese nivel se ve reflejado porque ese trabajo en el fútbol base mostrado y haciéndolo ya en la alta competencia, porque esto es alta competencia de CONCACAF a pesar de las edades, pues vamos a degustar de un fútbol mucho más propositivo, de un fútbol de mayor dinámica en su juego, y a lo que apuesta el presidente Webb. Nos vamos a encontrar con una CONCACAF a futuro cercano, siendo fuertes precisamente en las diferentes copas del mundo a futuro cercano. Quiero manifestar que la federación nuestra de Honduras, a través de su presidente, licenciado Rafael Callejas, y de su secretario, el abogado Jawid, pues ha apostado precisamente al fútbol base y se maneja a nivel de nuestra federación lo que es el programa de talento. ¿Qué implicaciones hay? En la misma hay diseminados 12 entrenadores a lo largo y ancho de nuestro país, precisamente trabajando con jóvenes. Y el estar aquí es una muestra del trabajo de los últimos 6 años en lo que es el programa de talento. Hoy lo estamos viviendo, lo estamos sintiendo por el nivel de competencia y de la manera como el grupo de jugadores de Honduras ha ido creciendo partido a partido. Eso nos satisface y verdaderamente estamos agradecidos con Dios porque nos ha dado justamente la posibilidad de tener un grupo de jugadores a temprana edad, preparándolos, formándolos en lo deportivo y por sobre todo, como dije al inicio, preparándolos también en lo que son los valores humanos para tener no solo buenos futbolistas, sino muy buenas personas.
It is very important to prepare players at a young age. This will help CONCACAF for the future. With this under-15 tournament, we are preparing players who are currently playing in a premier tournament because this is the highest level. For the future, you will see that thanks to this type of preparation that we had, the teams will be more dynamic. They will have more experience. They will have human values. Because we don't only want great players. We want great people, and that's very important for us. From our federation point of view, our president and our general secretary have assigned different coaches around the country, 12 of them, to coach people, to coach kids, and teach them values. And it's very important not only to have football players, but to have values.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to be closing. You want to?
I just have one quick question.
Sure.
And forgive me if this was answered maybe at the beginning of the tournament, or it's just my ignorance. I'm not sure. There's no Canada, U.S., or Mexico in this tournament. My understanding is they will be part of the under-20s in January. Any reason as to why they weren't participating in this one?
Yes. There has been a tournament in Mexico sponsored by Coca-Cola for the last, I think, 10 years. And historically, those countries have always participated in that tournament. That tournament also invites teams from South America. And they've had an agreement that they would have this tournament, I think, for the next 2 or 3 years with Coca-Cola. So that's the reason why Mexico, Canada, U.S. was not here. Not good for CONCACAF, but Argentina went on to win the championship in Mexico. So that's the reason. In regards to Trinidad and Dominican Republic, unfortunately, they didn't receive the necessary funding in time to travel. When the ministry in Trinidad actually did approve the funding for them to come, it was too late and there was no flights. Flights, of course, has been one of the negatives for us in the tournament. Flights in and out of Cayman has been very difficult for the players, for the teams. We just don't have enough. Don't have enough flights to Miami. Don't have enough flights to Jamaica for the Caribbean teams. So we've six teams have had to use charters. 8 teams has used charter. 5 used Cayman Airways to Antigua, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, and Grenada. Then, of course, Guadeloupe and Martinique use a charter to come in. And then, of course, Haiti had to use charters. So that has been one of the negatives. This is something we'll work with Cayman Airways going forward, giving them enough time, a year, and notice that perhaps we can look at improving airlift service to key points such as Miami and Jamaica because of the Eastern Caribbean and so forth. And then my hat's off to St. Vincent, who missed their charter, but it was not their fault. It was because Liat broke down, and God bless them. They went from St. Vincent to Dominican Republic, Dominican Republic to Panama, Panama to Cuba, and Cuba to Cayman. God bless St. Vincent. They wanted to come. They really wanted to come. So hats off to them and to the whole tournament. Last piece, housekeeping. Help us, please, for the game for the games, semifinal and final. Of course, we will have fireworks during the game, but also we have at the end of the game as well. So we want you to encourage and to help us educate our fans to please stay also for the awards presentation. We have the awards presentation of course, the championship trophy. We will also have the best goalkeeper, MVP. We will present the best 11 players selected by the technical study group for the tournament. We will present the Fair Play Award, and of course we will present the player with the most goals. The Golden Boot Award will be presented as well. So please advise the public, of course, to stay, of course, and witness the ceremony.
Para la final, como les mencionaba, van a tener fuegos artificiales. Pues, está invitando a toda la gente a quedarse, a ver la ceremonia y a disfrutar, porque es una fiesta. Va a ser muy bien.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Honorable Minister, at this time, I'd like to present to you the official pennant on behalf of CONCACAF. I would ask the coaches and players to join.
Sí, se pueden acercar para entregar los jugadores y el entrenador.
Yeah. Thank you. And we will,
Muchas gracias.
We will also be doing presentations during the final game to various departments who have really assisted CONCACAF and the government in delivering a outstanding under-15 championship as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. As always, your time is much appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you at the closing games. Semifinals are on Friday, and the finals will be on Sunday.